Hey everybody, this is Kevin from Texas Yardman and More, and today I'm following up with a video from my stereo install that I did a while back. You can find that video on my YouTube channel. And this is to install the backup camera that's part of the tailgate handle. And I'm going to move in closer, and you can see here's the hole for the key, and then with the backup camera that's built into your handle, I've got an aftermarket one that I ordered off of Amazon. It will set right here, and so this is to show you how I install it. And backup cameras have become quite useful. I really enjoy having one in my car. Now I need one in my truck because I'm always backing up into things. And so I've got this aftermarket one here. Let's see if I can get in a little closer. And came in this box, and we'll show you what came in the box. So we've got all of the conduit wires are inside the conduit here, and so we've got plenty of length to route from our tailgate all the way up to the front. And so I like how it came pre-packaged in the in this conduit here. It really keeps it it'll keep it dry and protected. And then on one end you've got this connector that plugs into the camera, and then you have cables coming out with that. You only need one end connected, and I will probably use the ones up in the front. This plugs into the radio. And so this is your RCA connector, and then I will use the other wires for power. You only need one of these connected on one end, so I'm going to show you how you do that. And then in the box you also get the actual backup camera built into the handle. You can see it right here. Right now it's got a plastic on there. I'll peel that off before we do our test. But here's the other end of that, and this plugs in to this piece in the cabling. And when you plug this in, you don't want to force it. You just want to twist this end, and you'll feel it fall into place, and then you'll know it's in the right groove. So that's plugged in right now, and for right now we'll unplug it again, and I'm going to show you. Also in the kit it comes with the instructions, and it's real basic. It tells you what color wires do what, and it has a little diagram, and it's pretty simple. So I'm going to show you how to install this backup camera. So the first step here is we got to take out these three bolts. And I already kind of broke them loose a little bit off camera. So we're going to take these off, and this is what holds the handle in place. So we'll get those taken out. So once you get these three bolts loose, you can see down inside there where they thread into the handle on the other side. And while you're in here and you got the tailgate down, you kind of want to look in between the crack of the tailgate and the bed of the truck, and you'll see an opening. Let's see if I can get in there and show you. You'll see an opening right there. That will allow you to feed the wiring through that hole. There's also some water weep holes here where it's got these all across the bottom of the tailgate, and that allows water to drip down. But the larger hole is right here, And let's see if I can get in there. There's the larger hole. That's what we're going to feed our wires through, and it's going to run underneath the truck. So the next step here will be to feed the wire, replace the bezel on the tailgate and replace it with the aftermarket one, and I'll show you how we do that. Okay, we got the tailgate lifted back up. The 3 bolts on the back side are removed, and now we got to pop off this bezel. And what you can do is they just pop in place, so you want to look at the new one and kind of see how the connectors are, and that kind of gives you an idea where they're located and how to pop them off. So we got 2 that are vertical and then 1 that's horizontal across the bottom. So I'm gonna just simply pop off this bezel using one of these little pry bars. They're mini pry bars that I have for light projects, and I'm gonna show you how that's done. Alright, so we're just gonna take one of my little mini pry bars, and we're going to come from the top, and we're going to try to work this in behind the bezel. Be careful. There's one that's popped, and work your way there. Now we got one left. There we go. And that's all there is to it. You just pop it right off. And you got to save this because there's the actual keyed lock that's in here. We have to take this off by popping out these this retainer clip with the screwdriver. And we're here. We got the old handle, and you can see we got to take this lock out. So there's a little retainer clip. I've already taken the one off the new one. And here's the other one. I've actually see that it's in the opposite direction as the aftermarket one. Not sure why they put it in this way, but it just simply pops out. It is open right here on the side, so you shouldn't have to fight with it. It should just pop right out, but it's just a retainer clip that holds this lock in place. And take note that this part points in. So when you put it in the other one, just make sure it's lined up correctly. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take the lock out. Okay, there's that one. And we'll just pick this up and put it in the new one. And we'll put the retainer clip on. And this metal is pretty easy to, it flexes, so you don't have to worry about it breaking, but it pops right in place. Just make sure you push it all the way forward. And that's all there is to it. Easy to figure out. Okay, the next step is we're going to use a fish tape. These are, this is called a fish tape, and it's used to route cables through walls and through tight spaces. We're going to use this fish tape to fish the wire through the hole that I showed you earlier down in here up through to the tailgate handle so that we can connect it to the camera. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to open up that cable package, and you're going to take this end here that plugs into the backup camera, and you're going to take it and you're going to tie it to this fish tape, and that way you can route it in there. And what you want to do is just put it side by side and take a piece of electrical tape and just kind of wrap it around it several times. Hopefully you can see that. And tie it off. And so now you got your wire and your fish tape end here, and we're going to route it through this hole over here, and we're going to go that direction up towards the handle. So you can also route it from the handle down to the hole, and you can simply pick up your tailgate and look down inside here in this hole, and you can see, you might not be able to see it on this camera, but you should be able to see it with your eyes. You'll see an opening down at the bottom right hand side, and it might be easier to do it this way. So just a little tip. Another way you can do this is simply take the tailgate off altogether, and it's super easy to do that. I'll show you how to do it. It has these little retainer clips right here. You simply pull up on the tailgate, slide that up, and this cable comes loose, and you do that to the other side. We'll just spin the camera around here. There, that cable's loose, and you just simply pick up your tailgate like so. And you simply take the tailgate off. And it's that easy. And then what you can do is you pick your tailgate up, and you can lay it on a table over here that I have set up. And you can route your cables through that way. There is a hole on the other side over here. Let's see if I can get over here and show you. So now you have access to all the holes on the underside, so you can feed your cable right through here. And then, like I showed you previously, there's holes all along the underside for water to drain through. But this is the hole that you want to go through, is this one right here. This larger hole, but sometimes it can be difficult. It was fighting me while the tailgate was on the truck. Because you can see that little bar right here. So I've got to, this will give me a little more access, and I can route the cables a little bit easier. And you saw how quick I could take that tailgate off. Alright, I was able to fish the cables through, and here's my fish tape. And I decided to come down from the top down towards the bottom, and it was so much easier because I took the tailgate off. That's a game changer. It took me all of 2 minutes to do that, or less. So easy. And then I just used my fish tape and routed it down through the hole. But one thing I wanted to point out is, like, right in this area there's another sheet of sheet metal that has holes in it that you have to route your cables through as well. So just wanted to point that out. But that was so much easier taking the tailgate off. Just a tip. One of the things I wanted to point out is I fished the wrong end through, so I've got to go back and reroute it the other way. Alright, so I've got it rerouted the right way, and now we just connect the backup camera. So one of the things I wanted to point out is on the end that's going to be near the tailgate, I've got a purple wire, black wire, and red wire. We're not going to use any of these wires because you only need to be connected at one end, and I'm going to connect it up at the radio. So I just kind of put some electrical tape on there so that it wouldn't ground anything or short out anything. And then we've got our connector here, and then we've got this, and like I said, just spin till you feel it, and then it locks in place. And it's labeled parking line, and then you just want to tuck these cables down inside, and you can actually pull from the underside of the tailgate, because they give you a little bit of line here as well. So I'm going to pull that slack. Be careful not to cut the wires or anything like that. There we go. Take all that slack out. It's just going to allow you more line to get up towards the front of the vehicle. And like I said, there's that other metal in there that it rubs up against, so you got to kind of work it through there. And then you line it up like so. One of the things I wanted to point out as a little tip when you're installing this is you've got to make sure that this is pressed down all the way flush to the metal, and I was having some trouble doing that. So what I ended up doing is I secured the handle in place, and I just slid this tailgate further to the edge of the table so I could access the holes on the bottom side down here, right under here. And I just went ahead and put in the bolts finger tight, and then that lined the handle up properly to where I could press this on, and it went down nice and tight and flush. Just wanted to point that out. So here we are. I got to just put the tailgate on, but I wanted to show you. So on the tailgate, you will see an area here where you can slide the tailgate into the notches on the truck. It's super easy. I'll show you. See if I can get in there. Right there. And then we're going to come over here to the truck, and I'll show you where those notched out couplings plug into. So they go right into here. This is not round. It's kind of a more rectangular with rounded edges. See if you can get in there and see that. And then you just pop the tailgate into that. You hold the tailgate upright, but probably instead of 90 degrees, more like 80 degrees. And you put the bottom parts into these notches, I guess. And then you attach the cables right here, and the tailgate's back on. Just wanted to show you that. So the tailgate's back on, did that in less than a minute. And wanted to point out, as you're facing the tailgate, you have to put in the left side first and then the right side, and that's all there is to it. And then you just reattach these clips. Very easy, and it made it so much easier when stringing the wire through the tailgate. So we're here now. We just got to route the conduit or the cables all the way up towards the front of the truck, and we're gonna head over to the driver's side. Right now this hole is on the passenger side, so we got to route it across from underneath. We're just gonna follow the electrical loom that the truck uses for the tail lights and follow it all the way up to the dash. You can see it down in here. When you close the tailgate, there's plenty of clearance. It's not going to pinch that cable. So you can see the electrical conduit right here with the wires in it, and you can see the existing electrical loom that the truck has its wires running through. So we're just going to follow it all the way across and forwards. That's where it turns forward. But we're just going to use zip ties all along here. We're just going to zip tie our conduit to the existing conduit right here. So just use a simple zip tie They work amazingly, and we'll just go all the way up towards the front of the truck and just follow the existing conduit. Alright, I've got my cable routed all the way from the rear of the vehicle all the way up to the front here. I'm up towards the driver's side floorboard now. You can see the cables right underneath there. And I'm going to see if there's something under the carpet that I can route the cables up through the floorboard. So I'm going to pop the door jamb piece off. You just use a tool like this and you just pry straight up. And it just has these little clips on here. There's 4 of them. So just set that to the side. And you can see some electrical wires through here. But I want to look under the carpet and see if there's any access ports underneath there, and it looks like there is. So I'm going to take this piece off. That pops out as well. It's got 2 clips on it. And that's going to afford me the ability to pull this carpet up. And right underneath you can see there's a opening right here. So I'm going to poke a hole through this and route my cables up through there, and then come up alongside the radio there. Let me get in a little bit closer so you can see it. So here is the carpet. If you lift up, you'll see a rubber grommet right here, and there's a cable coming through this. And I'm gonna route my cables up through this little access port. So you can see the conduit coming all the way from the back of the truck. I had to route around the gas tank, and then I met up back with the loom again on this side of on the driver's side. So I'm right here. If you look, sorry about that. Here's that underside of that rubber grommet. You can see where I've been poking through it. Right here, and I'm going to feed the cable up through here from the underside. So I've got, sorry I'm doing this one-handed. I've got the RCA connector that's going to feed up through here. Let's see if it'll go. I'm trying not to cut too much of that rubber away because I want it to also help stay waterproofed, I guess. So I may have to cut a little more out because this is not going through. And then you got your 3 wires here, your purple, red, and black. So I'm going to cut a little more of this out right here and then feed these up through. Okay, so I used a 1/2-inch drill bit to drill through that rubber grommet down here, and I was able to feed the cables through. And here's the other end with the RCA connection and the purple, black, and red. So now what I'm going to do is, now that it's in the floorboard, I'm going to route it up through here. And here's the fuse box cover. I'm going to pop that off. See if I can, it just pops off. Oh, you got to be careful. There we go. So it just pops off like all the other covers. It's held down by these little clips right here. There's some extra fuses and a fuse puller. And now that's going to allow me to be able to run these cables through the dash over towards the radio. And pretty straightforward from here. So I'll get these routed, and then we'll take off the bezel and take the radio out. Okay, so here's the conduit. I've got it all tied up here. It's crawling up through here. and it's tied in with the microphone wire, or I attached it to that same wire. And then all that's left is this right here. So we've got plenty of length to reach the radio. So I'm gonna feed it inside behind the dash and connect it up with the radio. So that's all that's left, is to route it through the dash. So I may come up from underneath to do that, and I'll show you once it's routed. So I'm inside the cab of the truck, and I'm gonna take off the front bezel here, and I've got the shifter in the all the way down position. I've got the parking brake on so that I can get this part off. Let's see if it'll come off. I'm trying to do this one-handed, so bear with me. So these pop off, and then I've got my cables over here. I gotta make sure I disconnect one of them. These are the cables for the stereo, and let me just see if I can get behind it here. There, that's coming off, and this should just wiggle loose, and then that just lays down there. It's still connected to all the cables, that's fine. And then that reveals your stereo, and then there's 4 screws, one there, oh actually there's 3 on each side, one there in the middle, one there at the bottom, and then over here same thing, one there, and one there. We'll take the controllers out first, and then we'll take the radio out, and then it'll lean forward, revealing the wires and antenna wire and so forth behind it. And that's where we're ultimately trying to get. And then we're going to try to come through here with the RCA cable for the backup camera. Okay, I got all the screws out, and I used the 9/32, but I actually think it's like a metric, so 7 or 8 maybe. But I'm going to go ahead and take off this panel. It's a separate piece. You just let that hang down, and then you can start to see the wires behind there. And then you just pick up the radio. Be careful, because it's got the touchpad on the front of it. So that exposes all the wires, and let's see. These wires are labeled, and this brown one is labeled for reversing camera power supply 12 volts. So we're going to use that to power our cable. And this is one of those 8-inch IPS aftermarket stereos that I bought off of Amazon. So if you have the same one, I'm gonna let you know if this works, so you can just follow this video. So I'm gonna finish routing this cable through right here, and it's gonna plug into this yellow connector here for the camera. So that's the RCA output feed, or input, for I should say. So I've got the wires hooked up. Here's the RCA connection for the camera, and then we've got our other wire, our 12 volts going to the brown wire. So the red to the brown, that's the 12 volt. And I have these neat little handy wire connectors here. You just literally flip the switches up on both sides. Hopefully you can see that. You just flip it up 90 degrees, put your wire in, and then press it back down, and it clamps the wire. And so I use that for this one, and then I use that one for this one when I was installing the radio. And they're extremely useful. Very easy. You don't have to solder, you don't have to wrap it with tape or anything like that. So for the ground wire, ran into a little problem here. There is no metal or no ground wire in here that I can ground this to. So you only need one end grounded. You can either do it from the radio or back on the back side there where the backup camera is. So I'm going to ground it to the frame or chassis of the truck, not using this wire but the other end of this wire. So I'm just going to ground it to the frame so that it has a ground connection. And then the purple one we don't need. So this is connected, so now we're just going to simply put it all back into the dash, and then we're going to test the backup camera once I get the ground connected. So I'm here underneath the truck back by the tailgate, and here's the wiring harness that I put in for the backup camera, and right here is where I had taped up the 3 wires. You got the camera wire, the negative wire, the positive wire, and the purple wire. I just needed the black wire, which is the negative ground, and I drilled a hole in my frame, and I took a wire brush and cleaned it to bare metal the best I could, and then I just had a self-tapping screw with a washer and tightened it to the frame here, and that's my negative ground. So that's all you got to do, one end or the other. So there was no metal up in the front area, it was all plastic, so I had nothing to ground it to, so I had to do it on this end. So now after grounding the wire back on the frame, now we need to test it out and make sure it works. So I put the radio or stereo back into its place. I didn't put all the screws in, but just enough to hold it on there, as well as the air conditioner controls. So I'm going to go ahead and start the truck up now. And I've got the air blowing here. Let me see if I can turn that down so you can hear a little bit. And now this is the big test. We'll just put it in reverse. And there we are. Backup camera is working. I've got the guidelines in there. I like that. I'm gonna have to test to see if it turns when I turn the vehicle. Well, you know, they turn to the left or turn to the right depending on which direction you're going, backing up. So it's working. It looks pretty good. I wouldn't say it's 4K, but it looks really good. So the connections are good. I'm going to go ahead and put everything back on. I'm going to put the bezel back on. I'm going to put all the side pieces over here back on. And this is working just fine. So just reverse everything that you took off. And if you got something out of this video, you learned a little tidbit or a trick here, please comment and let me know. And also like, subscribe, share my channel, hit that notification bell in the upper right hand corner. Hope you all have a great day. Take care.